For more than 3 decades, Azerbaijan's energy story has been closely linked with one of the most important partnerships in the Caspian, the partnership with BP. And this relationship has helped transform Azerbaijan into a major energy player, not only as a producer, but also as a reliable partner in regional and European energy security. So what comes next, and what role will BP play in Azerbaijan's next energy era? My guest today is Gio Cristofoli, BP's regional president for Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Türkiye. Mr. Cristofoli, you're so welcome to Power.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. It's our pleasure. And first of all, our congratulations on Baku Energy Week and also yesterday's announcement. I believe it's important and significant, not only for BP, but also for Azerbaijan's energy story as well. So we are speaking about the first non-associated gas production, right? Something that the industry has been anticipating for years. Finally, we are here, and maybe it also shows that the ACG is still capable for creating kind of new chapters and milestones. First of all, I would like to get your impressions, actually, as the operator's regional president. How proud are you for getting this milestone?
I am very, very proud to see non-associated gas finally entering the operations phase of ACG infrastructure. As we all know, ACG was developed to exploit the huge oil field, the Azeri Chira-Ganashli oil field. But now we can really exploit the gas that is sitting underneath that oil reservoir. So we can really say that we are entering a new chapter of the ACG infrastructure. And it is significant because we can show that we can use existing infrastructure to really continue to grow our operations and our production here. And over the last few days, actually, we learned how important gas production is, not just for Azerbaijan, but globally. The global gas demand is only increasing, actually. Some say 20% over the next 20 years, some say 40%. And non-associated gas will play a massive role into that growth. So I'm extremely proud of this achievement.
But at the same time, the development of the ACG's non-associated gas resources, it was not fully covered under the existing PSA, was it? So, I mean, how complex was it to move from the original framework to the next phase?
Yes, you're right. So the non-associated gas wasn't covered by the original PSA. So in 2024, an addendum was signed with the ACG partnership in order to be able to make the non-associated gas commercial. It's the first time that we commercialize the gas associated with the ACG infrastructure. So it took time, but I think it's testimony of what I said many times, the fact that here in Azerbaijan, we have a very business-friendly environment. When you look at the supply chain, when you look at our partners, when you look at SOCAR, when you look at the leadership of the country, they're all really geared towards attracting investment. So realizing the PSA addendum was complex, but when you work in an environment that is friendly to our business, that want to grow, that want to attract investment, then everything can be done.
But when we speak about a milestone, the natural question that could be raised is about the scale, I believe. So, of course, a milestone is very important, but its real value depends on what comes after, right? So, do you have any estimates, of course, at this stage of the real potential at the scale?
Yes. So the current estimation is that the non-associated gas volume could be anything between 4 and 6 trillion cubic feet of gas. What does it mean in plain English? That is equivalent to 4 or 5 years of the entire gas demand of the UK as a nation. So this is the size we are talking about. So it's huge. Now, when you look at how we're going to develop non-associated gas or NAG, it's a very complex geological structure, both underneath and above the oil ACG structure. When you look at the structure underneath ACG, there are two sand structure. We are producing for the lower sand. We're going to produce for around a month, and then we're going to start producing from the upper sand of that structure. And production will give us an indication of how easily the gas can flow, so the characteristic of the rocks, And that, combined with the volume that we have seen through seismic, is going to allow us to not only understand the volumes a little bit better, but also understand how many wells we need to drill to maximize production. So, as you say, this is the first step, the first milestones of many to come, but the development could be really huge with multi-billion-dollar investment.
Then, Mr. Cristofoli, let's move from the announcement and the figures to the, let's say, execution part.
Yeah.
I believe in energy, the real tests comes after the inaugurations and also the ceremonies. So looking ahead, what are your immediate plans, let's say, for developing the resources in the near term?
This project is exciting for many reasons. And before I answer your question, I also want to point out that it's easy for us to talk about a startup in this environment, but had the privilege to stay close to the operation, engineering, project team over the last few weeks. And as you can imagine, as you get towards startup, there are a lot of technical issues, little things, little problems. It's like trying to start up a brand new car. There are alarms, there are strange noise. And watching the team coming together, the best minds here in Azerbaijan coming together, bringing expertise from across the company to really drive the startup was truly heartwarming. So we shouldn't forget the human component of this and the expertise that now we have in place that allows further development. Now, to your question, let me take a little step back. When you develop a gas field, you want two things. You want speed, because we want to bring the molecules of gas to the market very quickly, and you want scale. So the way we approach the development of NAG is in multi-stage. Currently, we are developing NAG underneath the ganache part of the reservoir, because we believe we can develop that with existing infrastructure, meaning that we can develop that fast. So we think that over the next 2 or 3 years, we can add 2 to 3 billion cubic meter of gas annually to the export system. So that gives you speed. So we're going to drill the first well. We already drilled the first well, which is in production, as you know. And then we're going to spud another well before the end of the year. And then we're going to gather data, which will allow us to develop the NAG reservoir underneath the Azeri part of the field. And we think that that development could be bigger and could also be optimized to maximize oil recovery as well. So really the first point I'm making here is that we are combining speed by developing what we can develop with the existing infrastructure with scale, which is coming later, looking at the Azeri part of the field. The other really exciting component is that we discovered that on the lower sand, there is an oil rim. So with the gas, there is also oil. So we just spudded the well, and towards September, we're going to produce oil from that oil rim. And that could really add to the oil export of ACG. So when you really take a step back and you look at ACG as a giant field, it's truly like a second youth, if you like, because we are arresting the existing decline through technology. We are adding gas, and potentially we are adding oil from the oil rim on NAG. So really an exciting picture.
Quite impressive and definitely a kind of milestone, as you have already mentioned. So for now, I believe the wider question is whether BP is only trying to protect its positions in Azerbaijan or preparing for a wider future role. So what are your future plans? Or do you have any plans, let's say, to expand your existing commitments in the country?
Well, not only we have plans, but we have a vision, which is even better. And the vision, as I said many times, is to establish Azerbaijan and the wider region as a world-class energy hub for decades to come. What do I mean by that? First of all, we got the infrastructure that can really take molecules of hydrocarbons from the Caspian all the way to the Western markets, whether it's Türkiye, whether it's Europe, whether it's European Union. So we got the infrastructure, number one. Number two, we have reserves, as I just explained. You know, even old giants like ACG give you surprises, like NAG, like the oil rim. So there are really extensive reserves that we can continue to develop. Number three, we have a very business-friendly environment and government, which attract investment, which is really important. And number four, which is probably the most important component, we have the human capital. There are people here in Azerbaijan that are second to none in terms of professionalism, whether it's drilling, whether it's subsurface, whether it's engineering. And more we are seeing the national capability not only playing a very strong leadership role locally, but also starting to support businesses, BP businesses across the globe. So really, Azerbaijan is becoming a net exporter of talent and services, which is fantastic. So that's the vision. Now, how do you underpin that vision? You underpin that vision through plans, as you mentioned. So, of course, NAG production is the first step towards that growth. There are other exciting things coming. We are working at Karabakh, for example, which is an oil field which we are working on. And the idea there is to develop Karabakh as a separate oil field, but flow it through the ACG existing infrastructure. So for the first time here in the Caspian, we are applying a model that is well tested in the North Sea and in the Gulf of America, which is to use existing infrastructure and tie back satellite fields. And that could unlock many opportunities elsewhere in the Caspian. We are also bringing technology. So, for example, instead of building a pipe offshore, the pipeline offshore, on the sea, as we traditionally did, we are going to build a pipe onshore. And when you do that, it's easier, more efficient, and less expensive. And then we float the pipeline on location. It's a technology that only in one place in Scotland is applied. So this will be the second place in the world where we apply that technology. And then other things, so the viability of the project, the cost of the project depends on how many wells we drill, because they are subsea wells, very expensive, so we've got to optimize the wells. And what we are doing there is to start to deploy multilateral technology, which in essence is about having one motherboard, but reaching multiple places on the reservoir through lateral multiple bores. That allow us to optimize the cost and therefore protect the economics of the project. So Karabakh is an example of underpinning that view of creating this energy hub and continue to keep the amazing infrastructure full. There are other things, of course. You think about Shah Deniz. We are celebrating 30 years of the PSA for Shah Deniz, 20 years of production. We are working on building a big compression facility. That's a $2.9 billion investment. The compression facility will be fully electrified because we do want to keep an eye on the energy transition. We do want to play our part in terms of reducing emissions. And that facility will be the first of its kind here in the Caspian. Will be completely unmanned, completely electrified with big compressors. And that will allow us to really continue to increase the production or to increase the long tail of production for Shah Deniz. So these are a couple of examples of things that we are doing here to grow our presence in Azerbaijan. We are doing things across Caspian. We are looking at Uzbekistan, exploration in Uzbekistan. We are in discussion with the Kazakhstan oil and gas company. So we really want to continue to grow in this part of the world. And the best testimony I can give you is that 6 weeks into her role, our CEO, Meg O'Neill, came to visit Azerbaijan, came to meet the team, first of all, went to Shangachal to see the plant, and also met His Excellency, the President, to really state how important Azerbaijan is today, but for years to come.
Actually, you have already touched, let's say partially touched my next question, but I believe we can dive deeper. It's regarding the first point that you mentioned about the infrastructure.
Yeah.
So we already have, Azerbaijan already has the world-class infrastructure there. So how important is this integrated, let's say, approach for BP especially in the Caspian region?
Super important. Infrastructure is the key. And when I talk about world-class infrastructure, what I mean, it's not just a nice word from a consultant. What I mean is that when you look at the way the plant, the facilities, the terminal run, the reliability is 99+%, which is top class in the industry. So that's why I say it's a world-class infrastructure, because it runs really well. And that is really key because there are many places in the world where you can develop hydrocarbons and resources, but if you don't have a viable way to take those resources to the market, you can't really develop those fields, you cannot really invest. So the history of the oil and gas industry is the history of pipeline systems to a big extent. And having something like the Southern Corridor, BTC, the Western route to Supsa in Georgia on the Black Sea, the Shangachal terminal, et cetera, is really the foundation of growing production here. If I may, I heard with a lot of interest and attention some of the speeches by His Excellency, Mr. President, when he talks about interconnector and the power of connecting nations. And I was reflecting, I'm Italian, I love reading history, and one of the foundation of the, if you like, longevity of the Roman Empire was all the road networks, right? Because they were a catalyst to bringing people together. And today I believe that pipelines could play that role of connecting people. If you think about our pipeline system as a catalyst of bringing nations together, trading opportunities, every year with the Southern Ministerial meeting, we have ministers from tens of nations coming here to talk about. You can really see how this infrastructure could be a catalyst, not just for energy production, but also for trading, for development, and for exchange of ideas.
By the way, many countries have resources, but fewer countries can turn them into the, let's say, strategic connectivity. And as you already mentioned, President Ilham Aliyev has repeatedly presented Azerbaijan as a not only energy producing country, but also as a strategic connector in the region, linking the Caspian region with the international markets, also the energy security with the regional connectivity. So you have also spoken about the vision to bring the Caspian into a strategic hub. From BP's perspective, how important, how this vision or translate into the reality?
It's investment. So, if I look about what we've got, so I'm a strong believer that before talking about growth and the future, you need to be able to operate what you got really well. So when you look at ACG, for example, giant oil field, we are really deploying some of the best technology in order to maximize recovery. So we just drilled the first horizontal well in the Caspian, 1.1 kilometer of horizontal well. We are deploying geosteering technology. And the way to talk about it is, imagine a GPS underground, right? So tracking where your drilling bit is going and guiding the drilling bit to find that pool of oil. That's the technology we are deploying here. We are deploying seismic, what we call 4D seismic. So we have a 5-year seismic campaign. So we check seismic once a year. We shoot seismic, and by comparing the difference in terms of imaging we get, we can see the movement of water, oil, and gas in the reservoir and better understand it. We're also deploying technology on the top side. Today, in the Shangachal terminal, we have a little robot going around the plant and observing the plant. And actually, a few weeks ago, the robot detected a small sip of gas from one little joint. So we were allowed to fix it straight away because the robot spotted that issue. And by doing that, we free up people's time that can really do things that are high quality. Instead of having people just checking the plant, they can really work on optimizing the plant or getting more production. So these are examples of really BP investing in technology, investing in the broader sense here in Azerbaijan. And that's an example of that vision of the hub in action. I mentioned the visit by Meg here, which is testimony of how important this region is. And more and more, actually, we are using people here, human capital, to support businesses elsewhere. So, for example, one of the top mechanical discipline engineers in the company is from Azerbaijan. And more we see Azerbaijani taking on big leadership positions elsewhere. So when I say that, as I said before, that Azerbaijan can really be the next Houston or the next Aberdeen, the next capital of the energy industry, I mean it, and I see real evidence of that.
Mr. Cristofoli, actually, the final question of our program is always about the vision, the predictions, and also the future. So let's end by more, let's say, personal question with you. You have taken this role at a very important moment when, let's say, Azerbaijan's energy partnership with BP is entering to a new stage, to the next phase. When your chapter in Azerbaijan is eventually assessed, what would you want people to say you helped build in Azerbaijan?
So what you're asking is, in 15 years when I move on, what I would like to have accomplished. Look, this is honestly a dream job because of the endless opportunities that as a team we can create here. So the things I would like to be able to talk about when I move on and I look back is, first of all, developing people. It's very rare to find such a pride and drive to get things done and really to improve the quality of the operations. And it's a special characteristic of the people that are working here in the team. So to build on that is to continue to expand capability. And let me give you an example. In the last 3 or 4 years, we have been incubating a number of startups. One of these startups is an AI company. And then they developed AI tools that allow us to clean seismic data from any noise. So you get a better view of the reservoir. But also they created tools to expedite some of the workflows. So by applying these tools, in the past, it took us best part of 300 days to plan a new well. Now we can plan a new well in 4 or 5 weeks. The second thing is I would like this to be really a test bed for technology. Again, people here have a very open mindset. They like to try things. As I said, we got the robotics in Shangacha. We are doing inspection with drones, particularly if you think about flare inspection. You cannot go up to the flare system, of course, as a human being to test it. So we send drones. And the list goes on and on, digital twins. So the second thing is I would like the business here to be exemplary in terms of deploying, embedding, embracing technology and using technology in the everyday life, if you like, to improve the business. The third thing is I would like to build strong partnership. I will never be tired of saying that as the energy systems become more and more complex, not one company alone can really develop them. You do need collaboration. You need government-to-government relationship, you need technology, you need capability, you need capital, you need access to the supply chain, you need service companies, and no one company has the monopoly of all this. So more and more you need collaboration, you need partnership. So that's the other element that really I would like Azerbaijan and our business here to be remembered for. And really, I would like to create a culture of growth. I mentioned some of the projects that we are working on. I would like to continue to grow and see that infrastructure that export oil and gas to Europe continue to be full over many years. And the final piece which make this place special is I don't think you can partner with a country just as an oil and gas company. There has to be a social dimension. So I know the team is very active in terms of supporting social programs and arts, like great poets and writers like Fuzili, Nizami. And really, I would like to be remembered for being at the forefront with the team of continue to invest in these social programs and really shed light on the amazing culture, whether it's poetry, whether it's music, whether it's the carpets, whether it's food. So these are the things I would like to leave behind, frankly.
Very good luck to you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.